crazy. All right, one more and then.
Well, I started a long time before they did, and so I've seen the visual aesthetics evolve over the decades, but I'd say what the common thread is that it's raw and it's real. Like skateboarding, you can't fake it, and if you're skating in a forbidden spot, or if you're flying in the air, there's no tricks, there's no AI, well, not yet, but, and so my experience, I'd say, what really opened my eyes and made me fall in love with it was, I saw, when I was growing up, I saw people in magazines skating pools, because that was the chosen style, and to give you some context, when I started skating, you either skated pools or you skated freestyle. There was no street skating. Street skating was just for transportation. No one knew how to use a handrail or even ollie off the ground. So freestylers were nerds. Pool skaters were cool. That's just how, I'm just telling you how it was. And I wanted to fly because I saw the people in the magazines flying, but I went to the skate park for the first time and I literally saw that and I felt that energy and the soundtrack, the visuals, everything was just so exciting and energetic. And it was like, this is it, I want to do this, whatever, I don't know how to do it because my style sucked and I got openly ridiculed for it. It was the 70s, so it was a lot of bullying. But I didn't care because I just loved it so much. And through the years, we see how those aesthetics have influenced pop culture and really permeated the mainstream for the most part, but it still has that raw, real essence to it. So I feel like skateboarding is something that is wholly unique in that sense that, yes, it's now in the Olympics and it's in advertisements and Dew Tour and Red Bull just surfaced an entire building in Brazil for someone to drop in. But there also is that very raw element. If you go out the street, someone's just out there trying to do manuals on the curbs. So that's what I appreciate about it. It really covers so much territory. And still the visuals of it are iconic.
Yeah. So I guess a little bit more context. So this class is about the visual aesthetics of skateboarding, and each student is going to create a part that we're going to.
I'll just go first because it's easy. So I just made the first video for Sci-Fi Fantasy. Like I was basically just kind of like I've been thanks. So I've been in a lot of videos and I've been involved with a lot of videos and video parts, but never to this extent because this time I was kind of like, I don't know, I guess you could say like the director or whatever, and you know, anytime anyone wanted to make a choice, they would kind of look at me and be like, what do you think? And so it was a first time thing for me, and I really liked how it came out, but it was cool to be able to take all of these years of experience and just being able to exist during all these different evolutions of skateboard videos, and then be able to just kind of let my editors and skaters do what they wanted to do, but also kind of, you know, shape it the way I wanted to. So I think I'll just say that that's kind of like, it was just recently, but a big experience for me.
It's funny because like the video part that other people like always talk to me about the most is PJ Lett's Wonderful Horrible Life. I was like 16 when that came out, and I don't know, that was just my first experience having like a crew of people to skate with and being in a video. So I didn't really think about, and so much of it for me was like, oh, PJ's gonna have this video part and it's gonna blow everyone's mind. So I didn't really even think of myself in it. I was just like in the van and I was in Boston and I was like just filming without overthinking it too much, which was like a thing that I do all the time. I overthink absolutely everything. So that feels like a totally separate thing, and then in contrast to like years and years later, when I finally got a pro board, I skated for a weekend, and that was like after college, after grad school. Yeah, I was like full adult, and I felt so much pressure because I was like, you know, Grant, who one weekend was like, well, you're already pro, like it's not a big, it's like you're basically already pro, and I was like, yeah, but I'm not, like, and I had an injury, so he came to New York, and I had like 3 weeks or like maybe a month to like put footage together to film a part that was gonna come out with like my Welcome to Weekend. And I felt like I almost had a meltdown. I mean, I did have several meltdowns because it was just, I was so aware of like what I wanted it to be and then what I was capable of. And there's always this like, but that's kind of the beautiful thing about skateboarding is like, well, you can only do what you can, you know, you just go until your body can't work anymore and you're like, well, that's the trick, that's what I got. And I find like with other creative disciplines, I can just, I mean, I'm only done when there's a deadline and someone takes it away from me, but I'm like, no, I can make it better. I can like keep working on it. I'm like such a perfectionist. And then with skating, it's like, I landed the trick and I'm like, that's, I don't know. Some people get like, they're like, oh, I have 10 minutes of footage. I have to pick what's gonna be in the video part. I'm like, no, those are my tricks and that's what's in the part. But in that part, I think that's when I started. I just finished like grad school for architecture, but I was like, I don't want to do that in a professional way, and I draw a lot, and so I was like doing animations, and a big part of Grant for weekends videos were like animating, and so we worked together, and I got to like do animations with my part, and that, I don't know, I think that was the first time it was like such a difference from when I was 16, and I didn't even realize I was filming a video part to like being so aware of like wanting to control everything and wanting to like make it feel like something that was representative of me or what I could do. And so yeah, I don't know if that answers that question, but I just think that each...
I have a different experience because I was there for the beginning of skate videos. I was actually in arguably the first skate video, the Bones Weekend video show, which we had maybe 2 hours to film. Because Stacy Peralta had to rent cameras and didn't have a lot of money for the tape and wasn't willing to let us try things over and over. And that kind of went all through the years that we were shooting videos, including like Search for Animal Chin. We had 2 days on the chin ramp to shoot whatever we're going to project. And by comparison, I'm sure for your guys' videos, it's years, maybe? Sometimes, yeah. At least months, right? And so I'd say my best experience, one of my best experiences that was kind of an eye-opener was we shot this video called Ban This. I had my own ramp. Stacy Peralta came with Craig Stesick and actually lit up my ramp for nighttime. And I lived in this rural part of San Diego at the time, and people literally thought aliens landed on the mountaintop. And the cops were coming, and we're like, what are all these lights? And so we're making a skate video. I was like, I don't want to hear about that, just finish it up. But it was the first time that Stacy really allowed me to do my thing and to try to explore new tricks and gave me more chances and gave me more time. And I mean, this is all so archaic, but we're shooting high-speed film, so he's got these cameras. They have to actually warm up to get the film going, to get the shutters going that fast. And they sound like lawnmowers, and it's like, I hear that noise, it's like, oh, I better make this one, because they don't have much film left. But for me, it was really my sort of coming of age, and when I started to show what I was capable of in terms of tricks. I did my first Ollie 540 for that video, and yes, this is all vert, and this is all antiquated, but I think that was the beginning of what became more modern skate videos, in that you're gonna try your hardest stuff and it's gonna take a long time to get it, but once we get it on film, it's worth it. Yeah, I just started editing videos only because like Jerry said, and some people take offense to you saying like skateboarding was dead in the 90s, because that's when they discovered it and that's when it was everything to them, so it wasn't dead. But as an industry, it was minimal, it was very bleak. And I started my skate company, Birdhouse, in 1992 at the supposedly lowest point of the industry. And so I didn't necessarily want to be the creative director, but I had no choice. We couldn't hire anyone. And it was like, and I thought at that point in skateboarding, videos were the most important way to show what you're doing as a company. And Paul Peralta, Bones Brigade, kind of set the standard on that. I took my cues from Stacey Peralta, and so I did exactly what he did. I left my sponsor, and I started my own company, and I started making videos. And yeah, they were very basic. I couldn't afford the equipment to make them all fancy, but it didn't matter because it was skateboarding and it was raw. And I mean, those were salad days, and I appreciated it, but it was hard. I mean, I was a new father. I was the creative director. I was the marketing director. I was the team manager. I was the tour manager, and I was kind of losing it, and all the while trying to skate. And that got very taxing, but when I look back on it, I look back on it fondly, because it was Wild West. We were just going for it.
You're kind of known for your skits, right? That's like a thing. Like doing skits?
Oh.
At least on the Nine Club they said that.
Oh yeah, I hated doing skits. Like it was just sort of this like, it was just this, like in skateboarding I think there was just this kind of like, you know, this trend or this this motif of skits, and probably Stacey's fault, right?
Yeah. We can all blame Stacey.
Yes. So I really didn't like doing those. I think like the older guys who were making the videos, they always like wanted to do something like that, and it's a really easy way to kind of like, you know, fill in space. But I didn't really love that kind of stuff. I just want to see skateboarding really, and then like I think one visual aesthetic that I like in skateboard videos is appropriation. I sort of grew up around a lot of videos where they would like take a clip from like a person's head blowing up in like a horror movie, and they would just like insert all these like funny, like really quick clips, and I really like stuff like that, and also just personality, you know, like kind of B-roll stuff. I think the combination of skateboarding, a person's personality, and just sort of like appropriating like random funny, kind of like how the internet works now, like slop type shit. Like if you know, just like Tumblr type stuff, where it's just these are the things that represent me, and they're from all over the place. I think I like that kind of stuff. When it comes to skateboard videos, also the music is something that is pretty key. Like it can completely destroy the whole video part if your song doesn't really work. And what really works and what doesn't is completely subjective, but like I think there's some pretty objective examples of songs that have just been like, oh, like I can't watch this. So that's pretty important too. So, you know, music has a lot to do with it too.
I personally, I like skits if they're good. I think it depends. It's like I like anything if it's good. I think I like the idea of like skateboarding. I just feel like skate videos are kind of a container. It's like for, you know, collage. Yeah. Obviously when something's done and it becomes like a trope, or it just becomes something, then people are just redoing the same version of something. It's like a wannabe thing. That's never good. So I think like originality above all else, I think. But I don't think that there's one thing that works or doesn't work in skate videos. Like on the one hand, there was like Alien Workshop, and like when photosynthesis came out, it was a lot of like time lapses of like bugs dying and leaves shaking and seasons, you know. But I was like, oh, this is new to me, like, and it was different than the Chocolate Tour. It was different than, you know, Eastern Exposure, which was kind of like devoid of a lot of that. But there are a lot of stylistic choices. I agree with music. I think it's funny, like some of the songs I've like chosen to skate to or have skated to. Actually, like in PJ Ladd's one, it was like Mambo Italiano, which people sang at me for years after, and I didn't choose that. I wanted this like rap song that I really loved on the radio, and I was like, this song, and they were like, we got a song, we think you're gonna be hyped. And I was like, what is this song? And I was like 15, and I was like, who's Rosemary Clooney? But in the end, I think it made it memorable, or, you know, and since then when I've chosen songs, it's like, you know, I listen to like, mostly like jazz or classic. Like I listen to things that just like, don't fit my skating, because when I skate it just like, it doesn't go to jazz. Like I wish I skated like that, but I don't. And so it's funny, like you have to remove yourself sort of from like, just like, well, this is my favorite. And it's like, what goes, you know? And like, and you have to be honest with yourself, I think, about that, and like try to like take a step away and then look at it with fresh eyes. Like, does this work, or does it like enhance what I'm doing, or like totally like distract or ruin it? So I don't know. I guess basically what I'm saying is I think there's so many different types of things that you could fit in a skate video, whether from comedy to like really raw, serious, but authenticity and like choosing the right thing for the project is like super important to factor in and like to think about when you're like make everything intentional. Yeah.
When I think of skits, all I can think of is Lance Mountain, who would be the original sort of default skit guy for all the videos. In fact, he was the thread in that very first video, Bones Brigade video show. He was the thread that brought each part to the surface, where he was skating through a town, or riding a curb, or doing downhill. What happened was when Stacy Peralta did those videos, he didn't realize that would be the thing that people really focused on, was that he's just enjoying himself, even if he's doing basic stuff. And that felt more tangible and accessible. And so he leaned into that in the later years, and you know, we did some silly stuff. I think my favorite of those times was the Greater Gutter Open. That's a deep cut for you. We were pretending like skateboarding was golf, and my good friend Ray Underhill was in it. He passed away, so I have fond memories of that. But fast forward to more recent years, we did a video called Saturdays for Birdhouse a few years ago, and I called in every favor I could, and kind of maybe abused my, whatever you want to call, celebrity status to try to bring people in. But I enjoyed it. I think some people just fast forward through the stuff, but I got people like David Spade and Eric Andre, Jason Sudeikis, Andy Samberg, Amanda Palmer to actually introduce each skater and do a little skit. And for me, I was like, that was cool. And then I hear people go like, yeah, we were over that. We fast forwarded it. And the music too. And trying to contact artists directly to get music approved, like Modest Mouse and Moby. And the irony of that was that I chose a song that was half written by what's his name from Interpol, and half written by RZA. And RZA was a holdout, and it was literally like we're a week away from a premiere, and it didn't have approval from RZA's team. And I called and just basically begged, and he said, okay. So thank you, RZA.
It's amazing. I mean, I think skateboarding was actually had a huge audience, and I guess I'm curious how each of you, you know, keeps it fun, like keeps the balance, because like once a thing becomes a job, you know, it changes things. But if you go back to, yeah, I guess that's the question. Like, how do you keep skateboarding fun when it's also a business?
It's just not fun anymore. No, it's I think that's tough, because I think as a kid, all I dreamed of was becoming a pro skater, but then becoming a pro skater was a dream come true. But then there's like a disillusionment that kind of happens where I think this happens in every creative field where you finally achieve your dream. You're kind of like, there's a lot to contend with, I guess, because once you make the decision, I'm gonna do this, and you're given the opportunity, it's like, you feel grateful for it, you're so grateful, and you feel so lucky, but you're also like, I have to do a lot of things I don't want to do now, and it does pay for my life, it gives me everything that I have, but you're also just like, but it's really changing the way that I experience this thing that I was so 100% in charge of. And like, I don't know, it's like when a company comes, one of your sponsors or something is like, we're making this video, it's a huge deal, we're spending all this money, you have to do these things, you have to go to these places, you have to wake up at this time, you have to be, you know what I mean? Like, it just turns into this thing where you're like, all of a sudden, also you're completely beating yourself up because you want to make a video part and you want it to be the best thing possible, but you're also like, this is making me depressed, this is making me hate what I do. That's a very weird experience.
So watch what you wish for.
So I think, like, for me personally, I will just say that I have always had this very strange reluctance to my career. Like, there's always this 1 foot in, 1 foot out type of thing that I'm grappling with. And I actually quit in 2017. I kind of just quit.
I think a lot of us romanticize the dream, like they see successful skaters or people that are killing it, and it's like, I want to do that, but you don't understand the hustle it takes to get there, and the torture, emotionally, physically, and the expectation. Because once you reach that point, you got to keep outdoing yourself. I mean, that's the thing I tell people, especially with skateboarding. Don't make fame or fortune the goal, because if you get a taste of that, you're going to lose your motivation. The motivation has to be just to keep improving, and improving in all ways, not just the skating, but the creativity. And so when you're talking to Jerry about doing this company, like, yeah, behind the scenes, it's just a hustle. It's so much work and just mundane tasks, but that's what it takes to get there. And success just doesn't just fall in your lap. You're a good skateboarder, that's only part of it. And you can be a good skateboarder, but at some point you have to work at it. Yes, you're living the dream, but it's hard work. Just like, what was that Cypress Hill song? You can be a rock star, but yes, it's a job, and you got to take the job seriously, and you got to keep at it.
I don't know, advice or what would you say to the audience about navigating the moment?
That's a pretty big question, but I would just say that one thing that skateboarding taught me to do was go out into the world and experience a lot of different types of people, and not necessarily even like learning to tolerate or anything, but just like meeting people on the level of, oh, you skate too, so do I, so we have something in common, like we can interact, and I think that really helped me understand just how, like, in this day and age, I think all this stuff has always existed, but it's really just like, it's really being funneled in a way that it's like really intense right now. So I would just say that going out into the community and like experiencing people and just like doing something together is how I would deal with a lot of stuff that's going on right now. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's a crazy time, I think, maybe all of you, and to be in school life, so.
I grew up in a time when skateboarding was the furthest thing from cool you could do. You were immediately marked for we called it being picked on, for being bullied. In school, my first year of high school, there was only one other skater at school. We both tried to hide the fact that we skated just so we wouldn't get harassed. I used to hide my skateboard in the bushes before school, and then I would pick it up after school and skate home. But we got lucky in that one of the very last skate parks that was open in the US was in our town, and that was our place of belonging. That was where we found our community, our tribe. It was just like she said, a bunch of misfits, a bunch of oddballs, but we all had this common interest and passion, and I mean, that's where I met my lifelong friends. One's here today, Kevin Staub. We used to skate together when we were 12 years old. We're literally going to go skate right after this at a skate park. And I feel like the community, for me, when I had a bunch of success and felt like I could maybe affect change somehow, or had a voice that even mattered, my goal was to provide more skate parks. I mean, that was it, because of what it provided me as a kid. Like, it was my salvation. And so that was what I did with my status, started a skate park foundation, and that's my proudest work, and because it provides that kind of safe space or a place of belonging, or it also just makes skaters feel like the city cares about them, that they actually acknowledge that this is something valid. and something positive. And so I feel like when you go to a skate park, it's so exclusively unique because there's people from all walks of life, all ages, all skill levels. The top pro is there with an absolute beginner, and everyone's cheering each other on. There's no other activity or sport like that. You know, you're not going to go find LeBron on the court over there with helping someone do their first free throw. But you might see Najee Houston helping a little kid drop in. And so that's what I love about it. That's why I'm still here, and I'm just so thankful to be bearing witness to it. In this day and age, to see how far it's come, because it's, look at, we almost filled an auditorium just talking about skateboarding. That didn't happen in my high school.
So we're kind of at time. Yeah, I'm kind of torn. I just have one question, but I don't want to cut into your skateboard time, Tony, before you have to there. But this has been such a privilege. Thank you all so much, and I feel like this is absolutely something none of you had to do, and really grateful. And so I think what I'd say is I'd love to get a picture, like this is happening because of the class that I'm teaching, and like I feel like such a privilege to teach this class and like getting to interact with you, with people I admire. So I'd love to get a picture with the class up here with you three, if that's okay, and then
you guys have to make these faces.
And then I think we want to be respectful of everyone's time, so let's not mob our esteemed guests for autographs. Let's let them slide out if they need to. But thank you for coming. What else should I say? Yeah, thank you. So can I
Actually, would you mind doing this?
Try to scoot in, All ready? Scoot in on the end, scoot in. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Say half pipe.
You don't fall off. Okay. That's where I told my
Riverside? All right, I'll try to get over there. See you later.